Welcome back. I'm taking advantage of this fabulous February weather to get down to Gelt and do some long awaited boat work on Vicar. The list is as long as your arm. So here goes. I started off with some easy jobs. This cockpit tent didn't fit right all last season, so I've replaced all the lines, got it fitting right, put the bungee in the right place with the right tension, but more importantly, sorted out the boom crutch. This is the old kind of industrial one that we really use for towing. It's very heavy and difficult to keep on board, so I made a nice new one. Holds the boom a little bit higher, and it gives the whole thing a bit more shape. Next is the bobstay. Nothing actually wrong with the bobstay, but it has this sheath, it's like a plastic tube that allows mooring lines to kind of spin on them, gives far less friction. As you can see though, this is in a right mess, needs replacing. After hacking it all off, there must have been years of electrical tape around this thing. Put a nice new shroud covering on it. And secured it at both ends with just a little bit of tape this time. Let's see how this one copes. Now, one of the jobs I wasn't looking forward to was painting the cabin, painting the roof of the cabin. When we got Vicar, she'd been stored for quite a while and was quite damp, and the mould on the ceiling was really, really bad. We cleaned most of this off, but it was still stained, and the ceiling had flaking paint. It really is in quite a mess. So that needed all cleaning off and repainting. So here we are. I think you'll agree, it looks a hell of a lot better. It's a far nicer place to be as well. But this was a horrible job, and I am not keen to repeat it. Now, one of the things I really needed to sort out was the electrics. You can see the simple switch panel there tucked away right in the corner by the bulkhead. It's there because that's the only place where there's a space behind. But this is really inconvenient. Where I actually want it is more or less where my radio is clipped there. So I did think about building out a box from the bulkhead to house a fuse box and switch panel. But also I need some USB charging for all of the little devices that I've got on board. And a bit more expansion would be good as well. Now the Mark 1 Shrimper comes with these little plastic bins on either side of the bulkhead. They're not terribly pretty, but they did give me an idea. So I bought this pre-wired switch panel off Amazon. Cost about 20 quid. It's got 5 switches, a couple of USB outlets. It's got a battery voltage monitor and a 12 volt kind of cigarette lighter thing. I gave it a plywood facing for a bit more rigidity and make it look a bit better, and put some bus bars on a piece of plywood at the back and built a little lid for it. I'm quite pleased. Looks quite nice, I think. The little bracket there is to take my handheld radio. And here I am testing it in the garage before I fitted it. I added an isolation switch on the other side to make sure everything was turned off when I left the boat. All seems to work on the bench. Let's see how it works on the boat. And here we are, fitted back on the boat. I've replaced all the wiring as well, so let's hope it works when the battery's reconnected. I'll keep you posted. Eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed the horrible cockpit floor repair that I did at the start of this season. Of course, what I really want on the cockpit floor is a nice teak grating, but that is a little bit beyond my means at the moment, so I need to make do with what I've got available. Some of the edges of the existing planking is, well, horrible. It really needs replacing. I'm making do by replacing the 3 central panels that have rotted with some decking planks. I'll think about how to finish them off later, but until I win the lottery and can afford the teak, these will have to do. Now, I'm not the only one working hard this winter. Last year, Dartside Marina, it used to be MDL, was bought by Dolphin Boatyard. Now, Dolphin are the guys the other side of the creek, the other side of Gampton Creek, and long-established boatyard. In truth, I don't think MDL really knew what to do with Gampton. A lot of boat storage there, but it wasn't really core to their business. It's pretty much core to Dolphin's business. So after they purchased it for, I don't know, millions, they've started really reinvesting. They've removed all the old pontoons and sunk deep pilings into the mud for the new marina. It's all looking very swish, very exciting. Dolphin have not only upgraded, but they've doubled their capacity. I think now room for 70 boats on Walkershore pontoons, all with water and power. I've reserved a space for Vicar for next season. Hopefully we'll be over there in just over a month. My little iPad holder has been really useful this last year or so. I wouldn't be without it now. But it's not without a couple of problems. Let me explain. So on the starboard side of the coach roof, I've got a nice midship cleat, which I find really, really useful. I put a mooring line onto there. The springs go to there. It's great. What I'd really like is the same thing on the port side, so not a problem. I've got one here. Plonk that in the right place there. There was clearly something on there before I got the boat, because the holes line up perfectly. So if I put the cleat there, absolutely fine. I can have a nice midship mooring line, So this would be great. I can bring lines both sides, and as I generally moor to the port side, that's where the springs will go to. But the slight problem is I can't get the iPad in and out because it fouls the cleat, which is a bit of a pain. So what I could do is drop it down a little bit. That would work, definitely. But I think I've got a slightly more elegant solution. In truth, the design was a bit of a prototype anyway, and it does look a bit Heath Robinson. The plywood pad is delaminating slightly there where I did a really bad job of sealing it. It was supposed to be marine ply. It doesn't look like it is though. So I need to remake it. I'd meant to remake it anyway. So this is what I've come up with. iPod holder 2.0. Looks a bit more, I hesitate to say traditional, but it's a bit woodier, less Heath Robinson looking. It's definitely better finished. I've fitted it in there and on a bed of butyl tape as well. It's all nicely sealed up, lots of layers of varnish, and definitely marine ply now. So when I put the iPad in, I can do so without disturbing the cleat, which isn't fixed in yet. But it definitely works. Look, you can take it out that way. You can take it out. I'm trying to do this with one hand, so it's a lot easier than this. Back in. Fits great, and I get my new cleat. Quite pleased with that. Here it is, all finished with the cleat actually fitted. I gave myself a little bit of room between the cleat and the jamming cleats. I think it's time to call it a day and go home. Just have a quick whiz round the boatyard. Galton's huge, you can't really see it from the river, but there are literally hundreds of boats here. You normally just see the tops of the masts above the trees. There are 3 or 4 old abandoned quarries just full of boats being worked on or just stored ashore. Everything from rowing boats to huge trawlers. There's a big, I think, 70-ton crane just round the corner there. It's always fun coming in and having a look, seeing who's doing what. Some fabulous boats here. Quite like the look of that Swallow Yachts Coast 250. But anyway, time to go home and think about perhaps the horrible job of anti-fouling. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Please like and subscribe as ever.